Hello and welcome to the Long Island Weather Report. It is October 28th, 2024, and the last of the cool days. Things are going to start warming up. You can see we had a lot of sunshine, but there was a lot of jet junk around, cirrus, junky sky because of all this overrunning moisture that we have ahead of a cold front up at the upper levels. You can see all these clouds coming in here. This is all ahead of a warm front that will be making things a lot warmer. I'll show you the Kona's view. You can see again the chunky skies we're going to be having for a number of days, even though we will have sunshine. So looking at our current conditions right now, West Hampton's at 50. I'm surprised. 50 southeast wind. Rare time West Hampton actually is warmer than Islip or Farmingdale, 46, and 36 in the Pine Barrens west of Toms River. Let's look at what the lows were this morning, and yeah, it got down below freezing in the Pine Barrens, down to 28 at West Hampton, down to 28, actually 28 at 25 at Miller Air Park, the Pine Barrens west of Toms River. Everybody else pretty much had upper 30s. Of course, the more urban areas had upper 40s. The highs temperatures were upper 50s and lower 60s throughout the day. Jersey actually managed to get into the mid-60s. Looking at our statistics for today, at Islip, high of 61, low of 39. Although the high was 1 degree above normal, the low of 39 being 4 degrees below normal, puts us 2 degrees below normal for the day. So looking at our weather map here, we have a warm front mainly defined upstate. You can see critical fire weather because there's going to be fire risk in the southern plains for tomorrow, and if we pull out here on this, you'll see the risk, the red flag warning that stretches in the large part of the Great Plains. With the storm system here, there's going to be some pressure gradients, and I see some wind advisories too around that too, with those pressure gradients that we have. And if we look at our temperatures here, our high temperatures on the map, kind of showing you where the warmer air is. Let's see if we can show that to you, if that'll show up, or I guess it's not wanting to work. Here we go. Sort of see where the warmer air is here in the center of the country here. So that we'll be getting into some of that as we head toward the final days of this month here. Looking at the day two, you can see there's that warm front pushing to the north, and that could trigger mostly the best chances of rain are going to be well to the north and the east. Let's go and look at the models. And first of all, this is the radar. Very, very little showing up here. It's a very moisture-starved boundary, so some of the models may be exaggerating the chances for rain tomorrow. But anyway, this high here kind of just moves aside here, and then a southeast ridge kind of takes over. And then we have, again, that west-southwesterly flow. And it will be windy, too, so that's going to be a concern. See how tight those isobars are. For Halloween, we may be dealing with a brush fire risk again as well. And then that cold front comes through on Friday would be our next chance of rain. But still, the chances for rain are not all that impressive. So let's go to the HRRR right now. And see, just give me a moment. I've got to just get a drink of water. I hate having to pause it like that, but I had to have a little drink of water. I'm fighting off a cold. I'm starting to turn the corner. I'm feeling a little better tonight. The changes in the weather don't help. The very dry air does not help. It's been so dry. Not only is it drying out the woods and drying out everything, but it's also drying out people's bodies, and that also makes you more susceptible to getting sick. Anyway, so looking at the HRRR model, see that high push aside. You can see there's a little area of light rain that developed, mainly to the north. And you can see there's had the lightest little sprinkles over Long Island. There'll may be a sprinkle or two, but I don't think it's going to be enough to put any actual rainfall accumulation anywhere. Best chances of that happening are on the very east end of Long Island. But other than that, I don't think Central Park sees any rainfall tomorrow. I really don't see it happening. It's a very moisture-starved boundary. Not a lot of moisture to work with. And you can see we have pretty dry air in place. Dew points are still low. They will come up tomorrow. We'll start seeing a southerly flow, which will increase the amount of moisture in the air. as we head toward the evening. But I just don't see it being all that much. And then as we get into Wednesday, that's when the southwesterly winds take over, and that's when the temperatures are going to really start rising once that warm front passes. So looking at our actual air temperatures here tonight, we'll probably drop back into the 40s again. I don't think it gets below freezing in the Pine Barrens, but we'll have to see. It might. I always get surprised over there. And then tomorrow, you can see it's already turning warmer in Jersey here. Upper 60s, close to 70 in Philadelphia. And then tomorrow night, it definitely won't be as cool tomorrow night. Temperatures may not only lows may only be in the 50s. And then that sets the stage for a very warm day on Wednesday, with temperatures rising close to 80 degrees in New Jersey, and on Long Island probably well into the 70s. Now, as far as total rainfall accumulation on this particular model, you can see it just barely has anything. Other models are more moist with this feature, but I don't necessarily think that's what we're going to see. So let's go to the NAM here. We do have the 0Z NAM, but see, it just doesn't, it's not really going very far up. The NAM seems to want to develop these light little showers over Long Island. It's kind of just pretty much what the 18Z is showing. There are these very light little showers here that might develop, and then it develops another area in the evening. And if the NAM had its way, it would be a rather kind of, I would almost call it a sucky day with that sucky drizzle around. But I just don't I don't necessarily agree with this at all. And if the NAM were to have its way again, some parts of Long Island, oh my gosh, it's actually showing a half an inch over the middle part of Long Island here. This is the NAM, all right? NAM, I think this is an outlier model. I don't know why the model's even doing this, to tell you the truth. Even if you go from run to run, this is the 18Z 12 kilometer, and it barely has anything. So this is maybe convective feedback on this particular model. It's known to be a little bit on the eccentric for having too much rainfall. The NAM always has a habit of having that bias, but most models tend to keep it dry. This is the GFS, by the way. You can see very little. Best chances for any type of rainfall, and it would be maybe 0.1 or 0.2 over the forks. But again, I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. You have a moisture starve. Again, it seems like they want to bring this moisture in, but where is it coming from? I mean, let's back this up for a minute, all right? Let's go to Eastern U.S. view, all right? So it's got an area of moisture that kind of just develops over the lakes here, all right? And kind of just brings it in, all right? We're not seeing any rain in that area right now. So I think there's some issue with the model here. I think it's generating way too much moisture. It's probably just trying to compensate because it's been so dry and it just wants to do something. But I just don't see any really good chances for rain tomorrow. All right, so for those who are getting all excited, no, I don't see it. I'd like to be wrong and maybe we get a miracle and get some rain out of it, but I just don't see it. We have a couple of other models here, RGEM, which also shows, again, this very light shower activity over Long Island here that develops with this warm front. And again, I just don't see it because it's very moisture starved. This whole feature is very moisture starved. In fact, let's just go back. Let's go to the GFS. Let's go to, this is what I do when I'm trying to figure out if the models have some kind of bias going on here. It's just precip rate. Let's change this to radar. This is what it's like having a whole area of precipitation just break out over the Great Lakes. All right, this is 0Z. So we're gonna have to watch, and that's kind of right now. And I already showed you the radar already, the AccuWeather radar here. We'll look at that. Take this satellite off, and there's not really a whole lot of precipitation breaking out in this area. So, it's barely anything. So I don't know why the model's doing this, but I don't agree with it. I'm saying I think this is well over-exaggerated as far as to how much rain we're going to see from this, even for the upstate areas. Though they have better chances up there for seeing some rain than we do. So this is what the GFS is saying with this particular feature. I think the GFS and the NAM are being just way too wet. We can also look at the European. So you have a lot of disagreements in the models. Europeans definitely tends to be drier. It barely doesn't give us anything. This is the European total accumulated precip. I mean, just barely a trace. So there may be a couple of drops. I think that's all you're going to see tomorrow. Whether I don't think anyone's going to get any shower or anything like that. Maybe the best chance would be the East End, but I just don't think I don't see it. I don't see it. It's been so dry, and you have to work against all that dryness, and I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So I'm not going to use any of these other models. I think we pretty much get the idea. We can, you know what? Yeah, this HDRPS model. Yeah, that's not showing anything. So this is the HDRPS. It's an experimental model that most people don't use, but you can see again. I just don't. I think the chances for rain are going to be very, very minimal tomorrow. Very small chance. I give it 20% at that. So I just don't see. I don't see how, especially Central Park, better chances are going to be north and east of the city. I don't know why the NAM, this is the latest NAM model, keeps generating all that rain. That is just, I mean, what is it doing? I don't even know. I'm trying to understand the mechanism as to what is causing that. Let's see, FGen maybe? I'm trying to understand the mechanism. I mean, I'm guessing that's what it is. It's trying to, but there's not much moisture here. So I just don't understand why it's doing this, the NAM. I don't understand why it's doing it, but I don't like just totally throwing a model out. But HRRR, and I think the HRRR, and a lot of this model has a pretty good handle on it. You might see a drop or two in the afternoon, but that's about it. So once we get past that, then we're going to start dealing with the warmth. And we'll talk more about that, I think, tomorrow night. We'll see what happens if we can squeeze any rain out of this really dry air mass. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I think more than anything, you're just going to be dealing with clouds. If we look at the RGM here, probably won't be a lot of sun tomorrow. Probably a lot of clouds around on Long Island. The western areas may have sun and some cirrus mixed in. The thicker clouds will be over Long Island. Whatever it is, it just has this little feature that it's trying to have moisture there when there is none there. It's just trying to come up with something. But anyway, once that passes, then we'll have more sunshine and probably a lot of jet chunk in the sky on Wednesday and Thursday. And that's when we head into dealing with the warmth that we're going to be dealing with. And the wind, too, as well, that we'll have to watch for. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. If we're fortunate enough to get some rain, then maybe we can avoid a red flag warning. But once we get into Thursday, we're going to start dealing with those stronger winds. And that's a concern here. We'll go look at the Wed Thu skies, show you what I'm talking about here. So once we go into Thursday, you'll see we're going to have... look at that, showing 81 over Toms River. Let's see wind gusts here. Yeah, 21. So if we don't get rain, this is going to be a concern. And I really don't think we're going to see much in the way of any rain tomorrow. So despite what the Weather Service has, I just don't see it. I don't think we're going to see anything. I'll be honest with you here. Again, I could just... This kind of shows you the graph for precipitation. Change this to tomorrow. You can see it's got a few little light sprinkles here that might go over the east end. Maybe a light sprinkle here, but I just don't see it. And this, what model is this using now? It's using the HRRR, so it's just got the lightest of anything there. All right, and whether that even reaches the ground or not is, I mean, we're just talking about literally a few hundredths of an inch of rain possible in just a few select areas tomorrow. And it just looks very unlikely. Even if we got that much, it's not going to really fix anything. So I think the record at Central Park would come close because we know that we have a few more days this month. As you know, Central Park has not gotten any rain at all beyond the trace. No measurable precipitation at Central Park, and I just don't think that's going to change. I think Long Island, islip's gotten 0.10, but whether I still think it's going to be the driest month on record at islip as well. And that's going to pretty much do it. So have a good night. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But again, if you're expecting any rain tomorrow, you might have a couple of drops. You might be able to count the amount of drops you're going to get on one hand, basically. So anyway, have a good night.